working our way towards the top of the hour here at the Weather Channel. You've joined us in time for the Storm Watch segment, in which we'll take a look at some rainy weather going on in the midsection of the nation. But first, we're going to be paying a visit to the tropics, where we have a brand new tropical storm in the eastern Pacific. But we'll start off this edition of the Tropical Update by looking at what's happening in the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. We started off with a big picture. Not too much going on right now, especially as we go through the Caribbean. Pretty quiet from the Leeward and Windward Islands all the way up to the Yucatan Peninsula. However, you note this little blob of clouds right here in the central Gulf. Let's zoom in here a little bit. I want to take a little closer look here. Notice the thunderstorms going on here. There is a low pressure system, a weak low pressure system at the surface here. The thunderstorms, though, are not right near the center of the low. And although we are seeing showers and storms pop up and then die down, just like this one is here, so far we're not seeing any real organization around the center of the low. And the National Hurricane Center, in its latest updates, is they're not expecting any development out of this over the next day or two. But we will certainly be keeping our eyes on it, because as long as there's a low out there, you know, we have to be worried that eventually it might catch, as it were, and start developing into a tropical depression. Again, that hasn't happened yet, and we're not expecting it to happen over the next couple of days. The Caribbean, really very quiet, not much at all happening, pretty clear all the way from the islands all the way up in toward, heading up toward the Yucatan Peninsula. So as long as there aren't any clouds out there to speak of, no real chances for development. We head a little farther to the east, and now again here's the Leeward and Windward Islands. We'd seen a lot area of high pressure extend itself southward, suppressing development. That has started to weaken now, and you can see that by the fact that the cirrus cloud's starting to make progress north, showing that we're starting to see a little lower pressures in this area. But again, nothing has developed in the area. Farther to the east, we do have a fairly well-defined disturbance coming off the coast of Africa, starting to show some cyclonic turning, meaning it's starting to spin up a little bit here in terms of a counterclockwise rotation. You can see that by how the clouds and the storms here start lifting to the north on the backside of the waves. So we'll be following this as it travels to the west and see if it does spin up at all. Let's us travel to the west now and visit our newest tropical storm. That is Tropical Storm Frank. As of 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, the National Hurricane Center named the storm Frank. Top winds 40 miles an hour, so a minimal tropical storm at the current time, moving north at 8 miles an hour and centered about 160 miles southwest of Cabo San Lucas. And as we look at the watches that are up, these are tropical storm watches from Cabo San Lazaro, Mexico, around the Baja Peninsula up to Los Burros. And as we take a look at the storm itself, it is starting to show a fairly well-defined spiral structure. Reports from ships about 100 miles northeast of the storm center reported winds up to about close to 40 miles an hour. So that was one of the reasons the National Hurricane Center decided to go ahead and name the storm. Current forecast track takes it roughly parallel to the Baja California coast. That should keep the strongest winds offshore, but it would not take much of a turn to the right, a little bit going maybe a little bit east of north, to cause it to come ashore on the Baja Peninsula. But right now the current track takes it parallel to the Baja Peninsula, and we'll certainly be watching Tropical Storm Frank and updating you as it progresses northward. Farther to the west, much farther to the west, we still have Tropical Depression Estelle moving west-northwest at 12 miles an hour, centered roughly 600 miles east of Hilo, and top winds about 30 miles an hour. Here you can see the center of circulation. However, a little farther to the east, we do still have some convection going on, but you notice that it is drifting north of west, and it is already north of the islands. So it looks like on its current course it should not affect the Hawaiian Islands in terms of any kind of heavy winds or rain as it progresses farther to the north. Let us head now back to the United States, where we do have some showers and storms, especially into the Great Lakes this evening in Michigan, and heading over into Indiana. Taking a look at the radar here along the west coast of Michigan. Lots of rain going out in central Lake Michigan right now, but the Straits of Mackinac pretty much rainy this evening. Sault Ste. Marie heading down toward Alpena. We head a little farther south, and we've seen the rain for the most part come to an end here across much of Indiana, and not too much happening here into Kentucky. A line of showers and storms though in western Illinois, maybe St. Louis and northern suburbs of St. Louis picking up some rain before too long. We head into the south lower Mississippi River Valley. Not too much happening right now, so looks like we'll be okay for at least the next few hours. We are seeing a few showers here to the southeast of Little Rock, and just a few scattered showers picking up here on the radar to the north of Jackson, heading up on the west side of I-55. Coming up is Weather Center. We'll be taking a look at whether or not you'll be getting wet as we go into the day on your Saturday. And the heat is starting to make a return to Texas. That's not good news. We'll fill you in on how hot it's going to get coming up after your local forecast.
Wet weather moves from Texas to places farther east just in time for the weekend. When and where showers are likely next on Weather Center after your local forecast.
Please do not cross ropes.